please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome to the first part of many I'm sure for Amberlynn Reid's end of year review for the year of 2025. I have a feeling this, like Foodie Beauties, is going to be quite long, even for our non-tent era Skanklin Reid. So let's dive into January. So we're going to be starting the month with a continuation of December 2024, because some images were doing their rounds. I'm not entirely sure how much I can actually say in this video before YouTube demonetizes me for saying it. It's within a certain fetish community of the feeder variety. Now these images, I to this day still do not know if they are legitimately her or not, but they are of the unclothed variety, and they are not, no, I'm not, no. Needless to say, an individual going by the name Walnut, which is totally not Tommy or Emily or Amber, did not upload these images, videos, or other to this place. Although it would go so far as to explain why Amber took most of November off, because she really did phone a lot of this in, and I could believe that a lot of what she was doing, now anyway, especially in January and December, was based around the fact that tax, season was fast approaching and she needed to make as much money as possible to pay her taxes. So branching out into an adult department wouldn't be too far of a stretch for the dainty girl. On her community tab, Amber posted the following. I am sure everyone knows about the rumours going around when it comes to Walnut. Tommy, or Emily, has contacted the website personally in hopes to get this figured out, because not only is someone trying to impersonate her, but they are trying to make people believe I sell and am part of the feeder community, which I am not and never will be. There has to be some legalities when it comes to stuff like this, because it is defamation, as they are making everyone believe it to be true. Hopefully, that website can provide more information and get that person's page taken down once and for all. She got ratioed, more comments to likes, the majority of people calling her vile and saying that it was Tommy that did it. The reason people believe it was in fact Emily's because Emily had in fact said that she had made videos with her £1,000 girlfriend for money. This is where the belief comes from. It doesn't help that Tommy, or Emily, was active on the very sites you claim somebody else had uploaded content to in her name of sorts. There was enough information to go with it, and this led to Amber making a video addressing the allegations.
Will you ever admit you were actually 600 pounds? What has been the hardest part to overcome with having BPD? Hardest part about having BPD? Like during a BPD episode, which are actually sometimes called BPD tantrums, I am like a sex machine. What is a rumor about you that is 100% not true? It is 100% not true. I am not a feedie. I am not in a feeder relationship. That is not what's happening here.
Rather amusingly, as the month progresses, and there were within that video a lot of bait questions, where she phoned it in, filmed 4 videos back to back, answering 100 questions, no doubt all from Instagram and TikTok, because there's no way she answered the community tab where she made this request, as I put questions there, and they mostly centered around where's Rarity. It's surprising how quick she's moved on. We'll get to Rarity later. But also TikTok is a hug box, much like her Instagram. Maybe her Snapchat too, I don't know if she uses that. But because she's busy and phones it in by doing 4 of these videos back to back, she answers questions by not answering questions, and baiting the audience into answering the questions for her in the comments. I can truly believe Amber is evil. I can truly believe she knows this game enough to know, with her views going down, the best way to get the engagement is to bait her audience into doing it for her. But because she's the type to control the narrative, she struggles. She really does. Now Amber did follow this up with another video, because it's 4-parters, titled I'm Being Fetishized, and being portrayed as the villain. I'm going to skip over virtually everything but the part where she addresses being fetishized, because victim Lynn Skanklin Lynn Reid needs all the attention she can get.
How do you feel about people who fetishize your body? So the word fetish low-key confuses me. So the definition of fetish is a form of sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or activity or a part of the body other than sexual organs. Okay, so what that says to me, if you prefer someone of a certain body type and that is what you are sexually attracted to, that's considered a fetish?
What I love about this is Amber is so desperately trying to avoid the allegations of the feeder content that she has to resort to using a Google definition to try and understand a question by overcomplicating it. Although I would argue no one fetishizes you unless they're paying for it, and not many are paying for it. She did earlier in the video, by the way, have to discuss the haters. Rather amusingly, when she's discussing them, she knows an awful lot about them. Almost as if, with all the free time she has not making content, she's obsessively watching them to find ideas for content.
Oh, hold on. Baby? Stop.
She inserts these random moments into videos. I thought I'd include at least one so people didn't think I'd forgotten. On to the haters, though.
Yeah, I lie all the time. Yay me. Are there any reaction channels that you think purposely try to portray you poorly? Of course. Every single one. I don't even know why they're called reaction channels, because it's like, yeah, they are reacting.
I'm going to cut Amber off because they are reaction channels for that very reason. They infer based on the information you provide, or assert if you want to interpret it that way. I'm not going to go to bat and defend reaction channels, because I'm sure many of them get it wrong. But because you never come out publicly and provide proof to the contrary, you just assert it yourself, all we have is you as the arbiter of truth. But you're not the arbiter of truth. That first comment was relevant to it, even if it was taken out of context. Now, Amber was called out in the comment section to this video for not actually singling out many channels. She did mention a few like Alex's Shook, yes, and she does over the course of the month mention Zachary Michael. Big mistake on that front, because the comments section to many of her videos is filled up with her being called vile for mental health comments made in the direction of Zachary Michael. So in video number 3, she does address some of this a bit more. She also points out that she's going to go back on semaglutide. This is when we first really find out as video confirmation, and then she goes off crying about Rarity, as if anyone believes at this point that Rarity will find her way home. Been over 2 months and you abandoned her. I should probably show a clip of the semaglutide reference and Rarity reference before showing a relevant clip about the haters.
Do you still smoke Delta 8, and are you going to stop when you start semaglutide? I do still smoke. I definitely don't smoke as much as I used to, and I will be more than likely stopping when I start semaglutide. Are there any updates on Rarity? Sadly, no. In my actual gut and soul and heart, I really do believe that someone found her and they're loving on her. They're feeding her, and she has water and warmth and love and laughter and cuddles. Everything that I once gave her. I truly believe that someone else is doing the same. For now, I will have her home one day. When is the last time you watched Karina Kaboom? I'm telling you, the last time I watched her, I think was during live stream era. 3 X's ago, like even before Feline. I don't like that woman. I hate everything about that woman. Like, no tea, no shade, but what is going on with her?
Well, apparently, in the context of what Karina Kaboom is at time of recording in February 2025, her life is more stable than yours. She comments on your content, goes through the tea, goes through the facts, presents it as is very blunt, open, honest, and you don't like that. Because when you've been called out every day for all the errors you make because it's knowingly done, you go defensive and then insert victim then Reid. Your biggest go-to is the one that tickles me the most. It's your BPD. You're not diagnosed with it, and that's borderline personality, not bipolar. I got that wrong many times. She talks about having emotional mood swings that happen and tantrums and such, yet we never see any of that. We only ever see the carbon copy, cookie cutter, bleh version of her. It's only when things start to go wrong that the mask slips and we see bitchy Lynn. On to video number 4. Another Q&A, the final part in fact. And the only part we need is the part where she goes off on Zachary Michael, because that's the only part that matters. And I should point out, Zachary Michael did respond to this. I'll show a clip of that as well, where Zachary Michael gets more videos, many more videos, huge amounts more, vast numbers, more, greater, significantly improved upon than what Amber gets. something which she's not overly fond of. And then we'll dive into some Nikocado Avocado throwing shade at Amber too.
Do you truly believe Zachary Michael needs you to maintain the amount of money he currently is making on YouTube? I love the way that this question is worded, because I don't think Zach needs me in the sense of like to keep his YouTube channel or to keep some views afloat, nothing like that. Like, he doesn't need me in that sense. Like, he could post anything and get some views. I do stand by that. But with the amount of money that he is currently making, he needs me. He needs my videos, yes. Without a doubt, 100%. I do believe that. Like, it's just a really weird coincidence to me that like when I take weeks off, and I've done it a few times recently, let's hope that doesn't happen anytime soon, but it's just really weird to me that when I take weeks off, all of a sudden, Zachary Michael is going through mental health problems, and he can't post, and he doesn't know what to post, and he doesn't feel motivated. Oh, but the minute Amberlynn Reid posts, there's his reaction. It's just, it doesn't make sense. Actually, yes, it does. He needs me. Like, it's just a really weird coincidence to me that like when I take weeks off, and I've done it a few times recently, let's hope that doesn't happen anytime soon, but it's just really weird to me that when I take weeks off, all of a sudden, Zachary Michael is going through mental health problems, and he can't post. And
first of all, you dumb ass bitch, I have been so fucking nice to you about your mental health problems. I'm sorry. This is where I have been so kind to you, and while you were taking time off for your mental health during the time you were in Wisconsin, I was very supportive of you. I have been going through a breakup. That's not just a coincidence.
On the 7th of January 2025, Nikocado uploaded the first part of a number of parts titled Addressing the Amberlynn Situation. Now, on the thumbnail, he's a skinny queen. In the video, not so much. So yes, some of this has been held onto for a while. The most replayed part is the part I'm going to play before we continue with Amber's content, and yes, his video absolutely smashed it in views. Compared to what she gets, he nearly doubled it, to be honest. Which speaks volumes about the nature of what Nikocado can with minimal effort and using old content, and how relevant the old content is by today's standard.
Cheers! Go ahead and have that bite. It looks delicious, because it is. $89 LBs! Take that, Hammy!
For the sake of it, Amberlynn did not respond to much of the dragging that took place in this video, which is understandable. Nikocado has what she does not. Nikocado has a vast fan base, which is why Amber punches down by going after people who are smaller channels, because why go for her peers? Although she does go for somebody later who she considers a peer near the end of the month. Yes, there's a level of tribalism involved when it comes to Amber. I guess Nikocado is a traitor and therefore in the grand scheme of things. On January the 9th, Amberlynn released her next video titled The Truth Behind the Crumble, spelled incorrectly, Cookies video. It was actually filmed on December 31st, 2024, because Amber's been busy, yo, so she hasn't been able to do her job properly. Right. The filming days in advance problem she has is that when something kicks off that she's the centre of, she can't address it at the right time, citing every excuse why she can't do it, which is Amberlynn to a T.
So today is actually the 31st. But today is the 31st of December.
I bet you thought I was going to play her telling the story of her birthday and the video being leaked. I've seen that video, by the way. I don't recommend it. When she mentioned the date twice, and it's the reason I played it twice, two separate instances within the space of 2 minutes, it led me to believe that this video was not in fact recorded on the 31st, she just wanted to give off the impression she had recorded on the 31st. The thing is, Amber's not quick enough, nor smart enough to pounce on a topic when it's hot. She also doesn't pounce on it when it's cold, but she wants to give off the impression that she's on time with things. Based on when that video leaked, you could believe that this was the 31st of December and she was addressing it. But she didn't post it until January the 7th. So I think it took her 8 days to come up with a suitable response, and she recorded this one on the fly, hence the lack of looking like she's human. Although that could be applied to any day of the week when she makes any video, which is never really, she only phones it in. In the video she likes to highlight yet again her BPD. There are many people with borderline personality disorder who are highly offended by her claims to having it and using it as excuse. Also the fact that she appears to have absolute blind faith in anyone she's trying to shack up with. Don't forget here, only one of two people could have given that video to the public. Okay. One of them was married. and you were okay being a third wheel. Now, because Amber's a bit of a salty bish, she's been appearing in other places, live chats. In those same live chats, she's been throwing shade at her ex, Beck. Karina Kaboom covered this, and so I'm going to play a few clips from Karina's video that are pertinent to this, because Beck does feature a little bit over the course of the month, as do a number of the haters.
What do I think of Amber calling me money hungry and trying to capitalize on my live streams? That's what she was doing with me, like, the whole time I was being used for live streams. And that ties into the next question. Did I ever get paid from the live streams I did with her? No, I didn't.
Okay, Amberlynn continuing to talk about Beck when she was clearly asked to stop slandering Beck. I won't watch that because a friend of mine watched it and Beck lied a lot, which isn't surprising to me. Amber says about Beck, when we broke up, I felt bad, so I let them have all the money they needed. But Feline didn't like that, which makes sense.
Now, Karina's video goes on for quite some time and does highlight Amber's quite clear and obvious obsessive qualities. The problem Amber has is she will call anyone a liar and hate on them, religiously hate on them, when she knows she cannot scare them or control them. The one thing Amber wants to do is control any narrative concerning her life, which is why she says she has Nurgle's blessing and virtually every ailment under the sun. Because she doesn't have any proof of it, she can control the message because she's the only person that could provide the proof. Your medical portal would be perfect, really, wouldn't it now? Amber's next video is apparently the very first video she made in January 2025, titled "This is Detrimental, Can't Believe This Happened," and Tommy came to visit me.
Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So today is January 1st of 2025. Wow, new year, new me. And look at this jump scare. I'm sure I'm looking crazy. Like, I'm telling you, mid-makeup Amberlynn is a whole different breed. His tongue feels like sandpaper. I have to weigh myself. All right, you guys, so Tommy is actually coming to visit me today, and I'm so freaking excited, you have no idea.
Now, the one prevailing theme in this video that really stood out, firstly, is that Tommy is in Oklahoma, not in Wisconsin, looking for rarity. Like you had said, Amber, that Tommy would be, or Emily. Another thing is that at no point is Emily fully on camera. Yes, but nothing more than that. You hear a voice, that's about it. The extent of the involvement. That raises a few alarm bells. The other one is, Amber had given up alcohol for a while. She gave it up because of health reasons. You know, like when she got sent really nice cake and bread stuff and then she ditched all that as well because of health reasons. Right. Many have pointed out this as a bone of contention that she's bringing out the buzzballs. I'll be honest, she's white trash. I expect nothing better.
Okay guys, so I have not drank in months, but it's literally New Year's Day. I want to try this buzzball horchata. Like, what? I love horchata first of all. So, baby, will you open this for me? Yes. A girly pop with nails needs help. Thank you. You're welcome. Ooh, that's not bad. It doesn't taste like horchata to me though.
Totally not a feedie. This part must be baked. Now, there is something in the video beyond all this crap that I want to highlight, and it concerns the reaction channels and the, well, haters of because Amber has some words.
So I also want to talk about something that like needs to be talked about. I know I said in my last video, like, I'm done paying attention to like hate comments. I don't want to watch reaction channels anymore. Like, these things still stand.
She goes on to talk about the walnut moment situation type deal because of the narrative she can't control concerning her feeder at this point, partner, her being a feedee, and the explicit content uploaded to a feeder fetish place. That at this point, the majority believe was entirely because Amber was okay with it, which I honestly at this point believe as well. She goes on to show some emails she had with the company in question about this Walnut account, about it being a troll and blah blah blah. Damage control in 101. Blame everyone but yourself. Even if you can make them up, they're to blame. Don't listen to the haters. Not long after this, Amber's friendship with Alexis that had been rocky and quiet for some time after Alexis outed her last year had gone again, and Alexis had gone whole hog ham on this one. Amber released a video titled "Betrayed by Alexis Again, This Has to Be Illegal, and Taking My First Semaglutide Shot."
I mentioned in it that no, Alexis is not the one who did the cookie crumble, and people asked if I resented her, and I said no, and I was saying how Alexis is in like her happy healing era and that she's very understanding and patient and kind with the fact that like things aren't how they used to be. But I said those things and scheduled those videos before Alexis went into Jordy's chat and was saying things that genuinely hurt my feelings, saying that I could have leaked the video, saying that she only met me for the plot, and kind of betraying me again.
The amusing part about the walnut situation was that Amber had blamed Erica for it. You know, the person she was seeing that was already married, before Tommy, Emily. When she said it was Erica, she set herself up for a class action lawsuit for defamation, without any definitive proof at this point. That was on the table. Amber instead went to play victim, and in this very video, argued that she could seek legal action against Walnut, whoever that was. She also, as you might have heard, has been still perusing, her haters' live chats. Anyone that speaks ill of her, she obsessively watches, except for me. So her yet again obsessively watching the haters when she said she wouldn't or will stop doing it, is again her being caught out in her own lies, her own BS. Maybe that should be another merch idea she doesn't put on a shirt. Now, around this time, something of interest popped up, and that is Amber's clearly in desperate need of money. She created memberships that were $15 a month, and that's for live streams. Was it 1 a week or 4 a month or some nonsense? You'll get one. But also she upped the fee on her Cameo to $75 for a 1-minute video. I'm not saying she's trying to rip people off, but somebody may well need to downgrade their DoorDash orders a little, because that is an extortionate amount of money just to hear you speak, when anyone else could hear you speak in your usual disingenuous manner for free on YouTube. Now eventually, on January the 15th, my birthday, we got a weigh-in update from Amberlynn Reid. Now in the past, she has taken great strides to go to length and explain to us the value of losing weight and how important it is when she makes those, jumps. Well, we all know she's put on weight because she's been with a feeder at this point. Watch how quickly she moves on upon talking about it.
And I remember putting it in my journal. I was 517.6. So that means in half a year I've gained 40 pounds about. That's a lot, but I have gained more than that in a smaller amount of time in the past. So you know what? I'm gonna take what I can get. For someone my size, gaining 40 pounds is super freaking easy to do, especially with lymphedema. Like, I can gain 10 pounds in 2 days. Easy.
Weird flex, but okay. I doubt I'd be the first person to point this out, but gaining 40 pounds is not as easy at your size as it is to lose. You see, you are reaching a point where it's harder for you to gain that weight because you have to eat even more. But to lose it, all you have to do is cut the calories down to a more reasonable level. You could lose 40 pounds really easy if you did that and walked 10,000 steps a day, did some rudimentary exercises, and actually took this seriously. But Phone It In Lynn is, well, going to keep doing it. Because simply put, you are a dosser. Now, to take a page out of Chantel's little book, yes, Amber posted a community post not long after by saying, "I want to keep up the positivity in my life, and that is going to reflect on all of my social media platforms. I'm fully aware of some of the things that Alexis is saying, but she's arguing with a wall as I'm going to be taking the time to water the things that matter the most in my life. Internet drama and backstabbing friend isn't a part of that. She lied in the summer, apologized to me about it all, and is continuing to lie now. That is all I will say. I'm not fighting back. I'm not sharing my side. Nothing. It's going to be radio silence on my end. I'm a happier person without her in my life. I'm taking I'm taking something positive out of this. It's another lesson I've gotten to learn now I get to move on without someone awful in my life." Right, well, that's typical of Amber, really. Why explain yourself when you've been outed and confirmed to have been outed? Everything about what's been said has more concrete, lent into it, as it were. Foundations are stronger because you refuse to defend yourself. Not that you can. At this point, most of it has been confirmed anyway.
When I chose to go to Karina Kaboom's channel, it was because I wanted to tell part of my story in a way that was from a safer distance, so that I couldn't be accused of being a grifter or profiting off of it just for answering some questions. I was offered no money from Karina's video, and I didn't expect any profit or fame from it. The reaction was still very mixed and hurtful, and I know I can't please everybody. I still felt like Amber's narcissism was being fueled by the people who would attack anyone remotely connected to her.
Now, because of what Amber had said concerning Zachary Michael, she didn't follow up this video, or the previous one I showed of hers, by talking about this because, as you know, Amber records in advance. 11-12 days in fact. So I don't expect a response to this till much later in the month, which on Amber's part is kinda bad, because she could take full advantage and do better from it and not have to up her fees on Cameo, or charge a ridiculous amount for members-only live streams.
Okay guys, so I have gone back and forth whether I wanted to speak on this. I'm standing here and I'm using my voice because as a woman, I said something about Zach, saying that like his mental health issues is the reason why he can't upload. But then the minute that I upload, he has a reaction. That is the only thing I have ever said about Zachary Michael's mental health. And to be honest, the years and years that he has spent on his channel mocking me, being insensitive to any issue that I have. I mean, he can sit here and say that he stands up for me for this and for that and for random things, but sure, that doesn't take away the fact that I have been mocked by him.
This is an obligatory fair use interruption because there's more to this justification for her comments, and I want Amber to be able to articulate those points so you can just understand how intellectually challenged she is. Her shields have always been the same ones, and they always center around how she must be center of attention. So she will, if someone says they're ill, she'll say she's more ill. If someone says they're short, she's more short. If someone says they collect this, well, she collects more of it. I know that's not the same, but I just wanted to point out she's also a hoarder, which is a part of this problem of hers.
That also includes my mental health. We're not even gonna go to like the physical aspect of like making fun of the fact that it's hard for me in the past to like walk to a tree. Like we're not even gonna like include those things and multiple other things like him joining in on AmberCon, literally hosted by one of the most fat phobic people there is. But we're strictly gonna go with like the mental health aspect because that is the reason why he decided to literally verbally abuse me.
Victim Lynn Reid missing the point entirely because Victim Lynn Reid expects absolute unity. If you're her ally, you back her regardless. Tribalism is important. You must be a Democrat voter. Now the Twitch clip she's referring to, I'm gonna play here.
For her ass to sit here after I have said time and time
You communicated with us.
and time again, saying like, I totally understand, you need a break, like take as long as you need, we will figure out other stuff to do over here, and did, so shut your mouth, Amberlynn, and you can catch these hands.
Amber did respond to this by putting out a Instagram story thingy. Huge favour, someone sent me the clip of Zachary Michael threatening to throw hands at me over a week ago, but I cannot find the message anywhere. I personally do not want to go looking for it online because I'm not going to subject myself to watching his content. But if you're the person who sent it to me or have the clip, can you please send it to me? Thank you. Amber wants to use this to get some strikes applied to Zachary Michael on any and all platform that Zachary Michael frequents, because that's a bitch move. It is worth noting that Amber's response to Zachary Michael got about 40,000 views. Zachary Michael's response to that got over 100,000, which should speak volumes about what Amber brings to the table when it comes to this conversation. The phenomenal amount of dislikes also doesn't help Amber in the slightest. Next on the video list, second semaglutide shot, getting hit on by guys and come grocery shopping. where yet again we're subjected to Amber telling us some made-up story of a guy hitting on her.
You guys, I'm telling you, when I'm with Tommy, this does not happen. But when I'm with my mom, it happens all the time. So me and my mom were putting groceries in the car, and this guy literally comes up to me and he goes, "Wow, you are beautiful. Like, are you married? Do you want a boyfriend?" And I literally was like, "Yeah, I'm married." I literally lied.
You did lie, yes, when you told that story. Although, to be honest, your entire life is but a dream to you, because to you, the version of life you tell is the truth, but it's not the right one, which would indicate that you are living a fantasy. There's medication for that. Now, Amber did finally vaguely address Beck's video by saying the following on Instagram.
No, I will not speak about them. I told them that I wouldn't. Yes, I was in a chat where there was only a couple people and I was watching a reaction channel and they were talking about them and I just responded. I wasn't really thinking because it just felt like an intimate chat where I'm able to just say a few things. But no, I don't. I do not plan on responding. As you can tell, Amber's really putting her effort into this month by mostly just applying filters and phoning in literally every response. She's really, and I'll quote her, hecticana. Now, Amber is, at this point, 8 days in on semaglutide. I'm expecting her to quit by the end of the month or early into February, because she's not doing anything to help semaglutide. The cheat code for the third time, we do like a trilogy over here, and science does dictate you do something 3 times to get an accurate result, will hopefully lead Amber to the conclusion that she really isn't made for weight loss, without seeking professional help first. Hey guys, welcome to a new video. It is January 13th on a Monday.
Yeah, nothing interesting happens in this video beyond the fact it was released on the 21st of January, which was a Tuesday. Yes, there's an 8-day gap in her uploading schedule. I'm taking no issue with people uploading ahead of time, but when you're a vlogger, it's a bit harder to maintain any level of current content when your content is backdated like this. Also, if you're phoning it in the way Amber phoned it in, you're not really vlogging, are you? You're recapping. Embarrassingly so. Now, on her Instagram, yet again she posted some more mental health awareness, this time concerning BPD. At this point, many people, myself included, believe she is trying to do this on purpose to make it seem like not only she's knowledgeable and clued up on what she claims to have, but this makes her not only an authority, but also grants her some kind of immunity from criticism. When she funnels what she presents in video form, the version of her that she claims she is away from the camera, which she is definitely a different person but it's not because of BPD, is what she uses as an excuse for being a crappy person. Yet we don't see the claimed crappy person, we see the cookie cutter crappy person. Maybe if you were actually authentic in your content, people wouldn't call into question the legitimacy of your claims to having BPD. I'm going to add one more little caveat of information concerning her stupidity, and it comes courtesy of a tweet from an individual called Persef's Peach. ALR gets caught following a PDF Instagram account. She gets called out. She then claims it was an accidental follow. She then proceeds to delete past videos of her and Destiny being weird and creepy towards a 15-year-old. Well, there's no sus with that now, is there now? Later in the month, Amberlynn got an invite to go on LolCow Live from Keemstar himself.
Amber, you have a personal invite from Keemstar directly to you to come to Fat Camp with us.
Yeah, and come on the show. You're welcome here anytime, Amberlynn. I will be nice to you. Jordy may not.
Now, in Amber's next video, titled "Medical Misinformation is Being Spread, Walnut contacted Geordie and semaglutide isn't working," Amber spent an inordinate amount of time talking about how the Walnut situation transpired, how Geordie had been in contact with Walnut, how Walnut is not, may not be Erica, but might be Erica and Erica's wife. It was a lot of mental gymnastics from Amber to try and make it seem like a conspiracy was afoot, because the cookie crumble stuff at this point of the year is still ongoing. The part that matters, though, is the part nearly 10 minutes in where she talks about semaglutide and her first real weigh-in that we get to talk about.
Okay, you guys, so I did remember to weigh myself, but I do want to talk about the vial expiring after you puncture it for the first time in 28 days. Like, normally I wouldn't care so much, but I think it's because it's like medical misinformation.
It's ready.
Stepping on.
504.8 pounds.
504.8. Looks like I am maintaining. So I am definitely maintaining, which the second week for me, I always lose like a very small amount because the first week, like I lose so much.
Basically, Amber had tried to use the argument that the semaglutide wasn't working because it had expired last time, and this time, where in reality, she's not going to therapy, not doing any discernible workout of any kind. She is still overeating massively while claiming she's not. Therefore, to maintain a weight of over 500 pounds, you are consuming thousands of calories. You are doing nothing. And of course semaglutide isn't working, but by all means blame it on the expiry date. There is truth to the claim of it being 4 weeks. Ozempic I think is a few more weeks, in fact, I think it's 2 more weeks. But you can't afford Ozempic. Although I'd be honest with you shouldn't be on any of this. This cheat code will only last for as long as you have money, so I guess until those cameos run dry. Now it was around this time that the FetLife account that belonged to Tommy was discovered and shared publicly. Mere days later, Tommy released a number of statements on their Instagram account, eventually changing their name, but addressing a few concerns about their relationship status with Amberlynn Reid, where they broke up with Amberlynn Reid because they could no longer handle the continual scrutiny into their life. Apparently that. Right. Now I did a video on this channel going through Amber's response to the breakup. I'm not going to play it, but I'll link it down below if you're interested. But Amber did respond via a number of live streams on her channel.
It's a simple yes or no. Am I single? I don't know. It's good to see you live again. Thank you. What is wrong? Please tell us. I'm confused. And like, that's it. That's all I want to say about it.
Now, what led up to those Instagram posts was actually Mr. Snowflake's feeder video. It is believed to have been the straw that broke the camel's back that led to Emily deciding to break things off with Amber because the level of scrutiny was a bit too much for Emily to handle anymore. But also, let's face it, is it really worth it when a weighted blanket is cheaper and you don't have to run the risk of being suffocated, like a cat allegedly?
Did we break up? Yes, we did. We did. I mean, the type of like hate that we get online it's bad.
It is my firm belief that within the next 2 to 3 years, Amberlynn Reid will fully transition to live streamer like Chantel, and her life will be just as much of a mess as Chantel's. I don't believe she'll move to another country to find love, because if she went to the country Chantel went to, she wouldn't be here anymore. We know damn well Chantel struggles in the heat, now try Amber instead. Now the breakup stuff encompassed 2 streams, and she basically blamed the haters for all of it. Not taking responsibility because she doesn't know what it means to be in a meaningful relationship. She hasn't got the emotional range for it. So instead I'm going to move on and show you a clip from one of her members only live streams where she arguably does more in this than she does in any of her videos, but still at the same time does nothing. And when I was doing a stream covering this, boy my chat gave her crap for this, because they don't consider what she did to be scrapbooking in the slightest. Now there is more stuff concerning the Beck situation, and Karina Kaboom did cover a number of screenshots taken from a live chat where Amber went off on Beck. But this video is already too long, this segment. So we're going to finish on the Quirky Love Rosie bit, where Quirky had left a comment on a post, an Instagram post, Emily's. In fact, this post, because an image had done its rounds claiming that Amber had sat on Rarity and Rarity had passed away. At this point, in January, it is considered fake. If that changes at any point during the year, of course I will provide an update then. Because of this, Rosie left that comment. Rosie did milk this a bit, but on Twitter left a Twitter thread with DM pictures showing Amber going absolutely off on one and ignoring the main focus of the conversation to hyper-focus on what she believes should be a form of solidarity and tribalism, believing that Rosie wants that Tommy in this. Apparently we're still using the name Tommy. I don't quite understand, but alright. Amber did not handle this well, and Rosie used it. Amber did though upload 2 more videos during the month, and I'm not going to bother playing them because it can boil down to the following. She took her 3rd semaglutide shot and is no longer losing any weight. Oh, but I will show her cooking because that was so offensive I think you need to see it as well. After which I'll do a little conclusion for this month.
I was never taught how to cook, so I definitely taught everything myself. I do have a family full of people that cook really well, but I was never taught. So I am self-taught. I am trying to, a little bit of milk here, some flour, some cream cheese. So you can add Worcestershire sauce, or however you say it. I don't have any, so I'm gonna add some A1. Again, I don't measure, I measure with my heart. Now I'm just gonna stir, and this is just gonna thicken up.
Yes, that food is in fact blasphemy. The month of January has been one of the busiest months Amber's had in years. She has avoided talking about the most interesting topics on purpose because she believes herself removed from it. Yet, the things that generate the most interest in her content is when she pops off. The breakup with Tommy at this point is believed still to be kind of fake, maybe real. No one is certain at this point of the year. The fact she's gone off on people and hidden behind BPD, borderline personality, not bipolar, is a damning statement for what she thinks is acceptable in the online space. She does genuinely believe it is one rule for me but not for thee. Amber has also been more active, I believe, because she has taxes to pay and is running out of money. She has spent a lot of money propping up other people's lives, although Emily does claim that that was not the case. Emily came to visit her, while claiming that Emily was going to be looking for her cat when she left Wisconsin. Rarity is still nowhere to be found. Amber claims her pets are some of the most important people in her life, and yet she has now definitively ditched one, under the guise of, but my mental health, and I hope she's happy and safe, because that's what happens with an indoor cat that's been left outside. Much like your ability to look after those closest to you, you are still failing to look after yourself, although that should have been the damning statement that you were never capable of looking after a pet in the first place. Compared to last year, this is one of your strongest months when it comes to activity. Yet at the same time, you are ironically the least active, because you're hedging your bets on a cheat code getting you to where you think you belong. The only way you get to where you think you belong is by putting in the sodding effort, the one thing you refuse to do. Proof of that can be your health. Greater proof can be the fact you still don't have rarity. So there are 2 ways we can handle how this month begins. We can either start with the video she released first in the month, which was actually produced on January 22nd, not released until February the 2nd, or we skip ahead to the first video she actually released that was made in Feb. See, there's a point here. Because of the backlog of content, Amber falls behind a number of dramas that occur. Those dramas are of her own creation, because when you make enough purchases with your mouth and your actions, the receipt will invariably find its way to you. For Amber, this came in the form of Beck absolutely laying the smackdown on Amber towards the end of the month. But because Amber's content at the end of the month was made in the middle of the month, she doesn't address it initially, but then tries to eventually. It's really odd how the timeline works. So the first thing I'm going to show you is on the screen now. It's a TikTok, obviously. Can't play the music. Amber's back to TikTok thirst skank posting. I know, very exciting times. Now, something she did introduce during the month of February is that she introduced memberships. Now, these memberships undoubtedly were because money. To reward those that supported her for a, let's face it, extorted amount of money, they get members-only live streams. These members-only live streams, many clips were shared to social media, Reddit, farms, anywhere really where Amberlynn has a well-known presence, Twitter especially, because much of her live streams was just her videos with slightly more effort put into them, some of which I'll show you soon. Now, I guess the first video we do have to show you, even though it happened in January, concerns her crash out after the breakup of herself and the Tommy Tom Tom Tom, aka Emily, aka YP, whichever number it is now. We're in the Skankanet numbers. It's quite high.
Okay, so I've been home for about an hour. Since the last time you talked to me, or I talked to you, my brain is not working. Since the last time I talked to you guys, which I was in the grocery store, a lot has happened since then, and my brain is just not working, but my mom gave me my shot, my 4th semaglutide shot. Normally I film it, but I wasn't in the mood, so I promised a live stream tonight. I said that I was going to, and a lot of people are looking forward to it, so I have to stick to that. I'm gonna give myself about an hour to just kind of like...
That is one of the very few videos she releases during this month, not made of course during the month at all, where there is in fact a most rewatched part. That part was it. The setup to her doing a members only live stream, alluding to the fact she's going to have a crash out.
Hello. It's ready.
Alright, stepping on.
505.0 pounds.
Within this entire video, those are the only 2 points worth mentioning. Yes, she is still on track to half-ton heifer and is well over quarter-ton princess, a number that will not be changing for at least 2 months. You'll understand why soon.
Never even heard of it. Never even heard of it. And I'm not saying that Beyonce didn't, like, work hard to get it, because I'm sure she did. Like, I love Beyonce. Like, I've been listening to Beyonce since I was a little girl. Like, started with Destiny's Child. Like, I love Beyonce. Love so much of her music. But who's Cowboy Carter? Never heard of it. Never heard of her. Never heard of him. Never heard of them. Who are they?
So, because I think the Beck arc, starting at the beginning of the month and ending at the month, on the month, during the month, within the month, is quite a lengthy subject to cover, I want to touch upon semaglutide. Now, I did make a video on this, because Amber is still taking, early into Feb, the shots. However, she stops. She is one of the very few, possibly the only person, to have failed semaglutide, or the glorified cheat code, 3 times. Now, within the month, she will explain that she's going to be doing a psychiatrist thing again. And because of her BPD, borderline not bipolar, and because of the lymphedema, lipedema, and blah, all the excuses, she can't do anything, really, to improve her situation. There's just too much going on for our dainty. What I'm going to do is play a clip from the video I made covering her quitting semaglutide before we continue.
Good afternoon, Amberlynn. It's Wednesday, February 5th.
I woke up swollen again.
Hello. It's ready.
Stepping on.
511.2 pounds.
511.2. And that's after eating only 2,100 calories yesterday. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Odds on Amber blaming this on that comment she made just before she stepped on the scales, being swollen. Because the lymphedema, lipedema, Nurgle's blessing, Nurgle's rot. Whatever you want to blame it on, Amber will blame it on that. She'll also then blame it on semaglutide for no longer working, which we'll get to soon, don't you worry.
I gained 2 pounds overnight, literally eating 2,100 calories, and it's like...
Go to the gym. But Papa saw you. I don't feel like it. The tears. Oh, the tears. Yeah. Go to the gym.
That is a moment where my body is choosing to do what it wants to do, because I have lipedema and lymphedema. As you guys know, I feel like I say that like every 2 seconds, but it's the truth. It's something I'm suffering with.
You suffer with many things, according to you, without confirming anything. A medical portal would be really handy, wouldn't it? But I bet you, like Boogie, would refuse to show it because yours would be fairly empty. In the context of you citing lymphedema, lipedema, I could believe it because your legs move like South Park character legs. I could also believe that you did not eat just 2,100 calories in an entire day. Sorry, but you're too big, and if you had only eaten that, I promise you, you would have lost weight. You can say lymphedema, lipedema, and there is some validity to that, but with you, it is more likely that 2,100 was one of the meals you remembered because you forgot the other 200.
And it's really hard and conflicting because, like, people with lipedema and lymphedema, it is conflicting having issues with, like, my gallbladder and pancreas, but then also having issues with lipedema and lymphedema, because what helps lipedema and lymphedema is a low carb, high fat diet.
While I can truly believe you have these, I wouldn't hold out too much hope that this would help you to live that kind of diet when you eat so much of it and you are so inactive. You have to push regardless of what you're going through. If you can't do that, Amber, you will always be this. And when this on YouTube runs out, this will start to suffer even more. I can hardly wait for the day when you start mooching off others or live streaming 2 to 3 times a day, asking for money to pay for what will undoubtedly be cigarettes of the chocolate variety.
Whereas that's the diet that'll trigger my gallbladder and trigger my pancreas. So it's like...
Man, listening to Excusenin Reid cracks me up to no end. It also makes me want to go to the shops and buy some bacon for a sandwich, but that's a completely different problem. I may actually go and do that. No one cares if your pancreas is triggered, although we're surprised you even know where it is. No one cares if your gallbladder is triggered, because we're not entirely convinced yours actually functions anyway. The only thing people are interested in is how many excuses you can make for why things are falling apart, why things are failing, why you're not actually going forward. Don't forget here, up to this point, you are taking a cheat code. That cheat code can't work if you're doing everything you can to fight it. Usually when you introduce antibody into the body, or any foreign object into the human body, it will invariably try and fight it until it works out a way to balance with it, work with it, complement it, right? Considers needles, for example, invasive. Is it strange then that the person fighting it is on the outside of the body as opposed to the inside that's not even been given a chance to work with the cheat code in the first place?
Okay, so it's just all very conflicting and frustrating. But long story short, I would rather have issues with my lymphedema versus obviously organs inside of my body.
Keep fighting nature's law and you'll find you won't have any legs left anyway.
Y'all, I'm genuinely so annoyed. Like, I have no words for it. I swear I'm not crashing out, I'm not spiraling, but this whole vlog is gonna seem that way because it's like every step of the way I'm like, oh, I was gonna weigh myself daily. Oh, now we're not doing that. And it's just like, you know the next thing I'm about to say?
Yes, the whole freaking internet knows what you're about to say next. Because your cycle is not just predictive, it is written in law. L-O-R-E. Thus is written, thus is law. Semaglutide has become a part of it now. We know where you're going next. Because you need to save those pennies. Because it's not working for our dainty queen.
Sundays are my semaglutide day. I was supposed to message the providers 2 weeks prior to me needing a new vial. And I did that. I even vlogged, letting you guys know that I did that. As the days are getting closer and closer, it still hasn't shipped. So I messaged them and I'm like, I'm gonna be taking literally my increased dose, because I was supposed to double my dose. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be taking it late because you guys are not shipping it. And they're just like, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. And I'm like, what do I say to that? I don't know. Like, it's okay, I guess, question mark. Like, this is a medicine. And it's like, I'm relying on this company to do the right thing.
To be honest, Amber, I would too. But I would rely on them to cut you off. You abusing the cheat code and then continuing to eat vast amounts of food, not doing anything to change your habits, not go to therapy, but relying on one thing at one time to then do another thing separately from everything else at one time is not conducive to any level of success.
So already not getting it in time has been highly frustrating. So I was supposed to get it before the Sunday, which was just a few days ago, like today's Wednesday. And then they were like, nah, psych, like you're gonna get it on Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, fine, I guess I'll take it a couple days late, like it's fine. I messaged the provider to see what he thought and he said it's gonna be okay. So yesterday came around, which was Tuesday, and I was expecting to get it in the mail and I didn't. So then I was like, I woke up today and I was like, hopefully I'll get it today. I checked, it said it was gonna be here today. It did arrive, it did. But it's the wrong dose. It's the wrong dose.
Oh no. Anyway.
I'm frustrated and I'm done.
So far in this month I've shown you 2 weigh-ins. If you hadn't noticed, she went up in weight several pounds. She is taking semaglutide to try and get her weight down. How much is she eating and not doing anything to continue to go up? That even the cheat code fails. You may as well have pressed up, up, down, down, left, right, for all the good it would have done you. Although you could argue at least that's a minor workout for one of your thumbs. Now, while Amber is busy bopping on the screen for your entertainment, because they not like us, everyone, Amber does sprinkle throughout the month more crying and breakdowns courtesy of the breakup with Emily, Tommy, Wipey, whichever number. Because she's going through these stages of grief, she is seeing Tommy, Emily, Wipey, whichever number in literally everything. Because this is an end-of-year review, we have to, of course, include clips of this, even if we find it incredibly blech.
Genuinely, this is the thing that I hate the most, is I walked into the kitchen. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on some lights, okay? So I walked into the kitchen, and I just instantly started bawling my eyes out. Like, these are the roses that she got me for my birthday. And it's like, I'm a pretty sentimental person when it comes to my partner, especially like we're in a long-distance relationship. And I've had this quarter on my island since she's been here, and I haven't moved it, because, I don't know, I wanted her to have it when she comes back, you know? And it's just like, things like that, like, God. It's like, why? It's like 1 minute, like, I forget because maybe I'm distracted with something for like 1 second, and then all of a sudden it's like it happened all over again, and this goes on and on and on and on all day long. I just don't know what I'm gonna do.
There is a belief, because going into March, Amber starts to show off things like her underwear, post more feeder thumbnail content, that either she and Tommy are still together, or she is already moving on. I would have thought Amber's priority would not be the relationship she so desperately wants, but instead consider getting a hotel, going out to Wisconsin, and finding her sodding cat that she is trusting her now ex, allegedly, to look for. So there's another area of Amber's health we have to address before we move over to the Beck discussion. There are a few other things as well. We'll get to them, don't worry. The first thing we need to discuss is Amberlynn got the coof. Because Amber is terrified of ever catching anything, yet she wears each one like a badge of honour, her reaction was somewhat unshocking. Unsurprising? Cliche? Yeah. All of those.
I just got off the phone with my mom. I'm crying like a little bitch. Fully aware I have COVID. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, I know like, I'm gonna be okay, but like, it's scary. I don't know why.
Understandably, because this is an opportunity for Amberlynn to not doing anything. To do anything, in fact. She did nothing. She made another video 2 days later, and made it all about the coup. No, I have no intention of playing any clips from it. So instead, we're now going to talk about Beck. Now, I did a video covering Beck and Amber, because during one of my research streams over on Moistonian Live, I discovered Amber's somewhat disingenuous attempt to apologise to Beck. And because of how bad they were, Beck was not done. They were terrible apologies from Amber. If you're going to be on camera to express remorse, the one thing you don't want to get caught doing is only saying sorry when you are off camera.
When my mother passed away, me and my siblings received a portion of a settlement from my dad's job that ended up being around $5,000 to $6,000 for each of us. I was not allowed to keep it. She told me that the money had to go into paying the bills and my half of the rent. My mom had plans for when she would have received that money before she passed away. Getting it was bittersweet, and I would have liked to use it in some way to honor her. She wouldn't have wanted Amber to have it, and it really hurt.
Just before Beck finishes, because I do think there's another bit I need to add just so you have the whole context, but I have to interject because of fair use. When someone passes away and you're given a form of inheritance, you should be allowed to use that to honour them in some way or for yourself, right? I understand how times are tough, but back when this happened, Amber was making 10 to 15 grand a month. She's always been the type to prefer to have a partner that is subservient to her, which is why she and Wipey didn't work. It's why she and Emily, Tommy, new Wipey, former Wipey, didn't work out. Amber was making bank with her hectic life. And according to Beck here, we find that Amber took 5 grand from them.
But she took it anyway. When I told her that I would like to do something with the money, she dismissed it and treated me like I owed it to her and it wasn't my choice. She said that I couldn't have it because the bills needed to be paid, even though I knew that she was making enough from YouTube to cover bills and rent with no problem.
Amber sounds like the type of person, if she were a parent, to take her child's birthday money under the guise of, yeah, but we need this in the house. Considering how much of a hoarder Amber was at this point, how much she relied on then Becky to do so much for her Amber, this is remarkably ungrateful of somebody who had a live-in caretaker.
The math ain't mathin'.
People have many criticisms to levy at Beck, that's quite alright. In this instance, this accusation is quite a big one. Now, I went through this at the start of the live stream. What I didn't know was that when I got to the more recent video on Amber's channel, Her comment section let her know. Oh boy did they let her know. On the screen now is a video play. Now I asked my mod Leona to look into this and screen record it for me please. At the point of when I was streaming last night, the video was only a few hours old. She had over 800 comments. Her videos average about 1,000 comments anyway. This is quite a lot of engagement. I'm very jealous. Leave a comment down below please. I need it. Thank you. In this, as you can see, the resounding perspective is Beck is owed $5,000. You thief, you silly bish, you greedy bish, and so on. In fact, there aren't many positive comments here at all for her, Amber that is, because people have seen Beck's rather lengthy video going through more of the dirt on Amber, which is where neck cheese comes from. It's from the stench hidden under the perfume and the damage done to people's personal property because of her smell, and now we find money thief as well, which is not a good look. It really isn't, by the way. I also discovered Amber has over 100 subscribers to her memberships who are live watching or membership streams that she does. And that tickles me because she's making at least $1,000 a month based on how much she charges, in dollars that is. Close to £800 maybe, if she's lucky. But still, she's making good money from these membership live streams. Money I'm not entirely convinced she deserves. And I do have a clip of her more recent response to addressing these allegations. We're going to play that before we then go to the video itself just to see if there's anything there, because she has done two videos addressing allegations from Beck. They are the most pathologically lied videos she's ever produced. That didn't sound right. She looks like a liar. She looks dead at the camera, her eyes are completely devoid of emotion, she claims to be remorseful, regretful, and apologizes, but every time she apologizes, she's not on camera. She cuts away to a still image of a cloud on a white backdrop to say I apologize. That's not that. We'll get to that in a bit. Here's the clip of her membership stream where she addresses the more recent allegation.
Can you please put in more effort next week? If you won't talk about what everyone wants you to give, then give us an alternative. This is what my live streams will be. I'm here to talk to you guys one-on-one, answer your guys' questions, things that I feel comfortable talking about, of course. This is what they're going to be. And I noticed that a lot more people are watching week by week and becoming a member, and I appreciate that so much. Like, thank you so much. You have no idea.
Considering the bereavement aspect, which is quite an important and vital part of the context, you could use the memberships from this to start saving up to pay back the money. When someone goes through a bereavement, the first thought shouldn't be, well, like you, let's do some Q&As online to draw the attention to myself, and then let's take money from our then girlfriend. Well done, by the way. Smart move, you silly bitch.
So if you're not interested anymore, I do appreciate you guys being here for the time that you have been here. But this is what I want my live streams to be. In the future, if something changes or I make another tier or another type of live stream, then you guys will know about that. But for now, this is what it's going to be.
Basically, Amber was asked to talk about the situation with Beck. Amber is refusing to, believing the two videos that Amber has done are enough. I'm going to have to show you a clip at some point in this video from those. Maybe just the second one, because the first one's a throwaway. The second one is intriguing. The lack of sincerity, especially. In the more recent video, she spends the majority of it talking about having the coof, because Amber has anxiety about literally everything. She's kind of hectic. And that hecticness, yes, leads her to act out. And that makes it raw and true and real, everyone. Nothing reeks of that more than holding a camera while you cry into it.
I think with more therapy, I'm gonna learn that, like, maybe I am valid.
Now, within that video, there was only one part of it, beyond showing us the members-only content, which seemed redundant then to do a members-only live stream, where I was intrigued. Because I could honestly believe what I'm about to play would have been done by the haters. But no, it turns out Amber decided to fill the entire frame with as much of her body as possible. Now, because I did film at college, if you draw on the screen, like the tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses board thing, 9 cells usually occupy the screen. You want to put something in each of them. Ignoring the 2 cells in the top corners where it's blank, Amber fills out 7. Here it is on the screen now. I don't understand the motivation behind this. But we'll play some audio from this just so you have a bit of context. She's talking about members-only live stream crap, basically. Because she's professional, girls.
I am going to go live, but I'm going to do it earlier
than usual. So I'm gonna go live in an hour and a half. So I just posted a community tab letting everyone know. So I just want to kind of meet in the middle. I don't want to let anyone down, but I also want to be able to rest for the rest of the night. And I'm really sad because someone's like...
Let's face it here, the most Amber does is during the live streams, because she spends the majority of the day doing nothing. We know this because in these very videos, one of her days before she inserted the "so it's the next day" was 1.5 minutes. Now I want to finish this video, not right now, but I want to use the remainder of this video going through some of her, quote, sincerity when addressing Beck's accusations. The video in question was recorded on the 9th of February, yes. So there's a good gap here of lots of days between when that video was recorded and uploaded. So I'm kind of intrigued to see when Amber will address the more recent allegation of $5,000. But this one does at least set up Amber's redemption arc, everyone. Like, guys, she's totally legitness and sincere.
Hello. So welcome to a new video. It's actually February 7th at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yes, I should be asleep, but here I am awake filming a video. I was actually getting ready to get comfy and try to sleep. My sleeping hasn't been the greatest. I've just been having a lot of anxiety, and when I have a lot of anxiety, I go to sleep really late.
The funny thing really with this, the statement alone, is that it's somewhat ironic for somebody who likes to be the center of attention in everything she does, that when she becomes it in a very dirty laundry sense, oh boy, do I have to show you my shields to justify my bleh.
Something I've suffered with majority of my life. But anyways, I could have totally slept and waited till tomorrow to film this, but I think it's just so heavy that like I have to do it now so I can just be completely done with it.
I would say that's a healthy attitude, but because it's you, Amber, all of it is insincere. All of it comes from you trying to portray yourself to control the narrative as a sincere, honest, upfront, truthful person that can introspect, reflect, and improve. None of those words are applicable to somebody who in their entire time on YouTube has only gotten bigger, literally, while their peanut-sized brain has guaranteed less blood has managed to reach it.
I watched Beck's new video that they posted tonight or today or whatever, but it was a new one.
Based on when you released it weeks ago. Because you upload ahead of schedule, don't you? This is also where the insincerity is brought up. If this really mattered and you really wanted to tackle this, you would not have scheduled this video. Which, by the way, we know you scheduled because we all saw the list of all the videos you had prepared to upload in another one of your contents videos, doodahs. This was there.
So that video genuinely shocked me, and it made me feel stupid and dumb, and it made me realize that like the way that I viewed our relationship was completely wrong, and I was oblivious to a lot of things, even to the extent of the way that I treated them. So I want to be accountable in that. But this is just the example that I saw in their newest video.
This is where I know the video is 100% insincere. You are not accountable if you can't do this on camera as well. You've cut away. You can say, but future Amber realized. But future Amber can go and put the camera back where it belongs and simply say the words that matter. But at no point during the video, on camera, do you say the words that are supposed to matter to you for you to be held accountable. You don't say them.
Where it made me look back and be like, yeah, like we both actually viewed this relationship completely different.
Yeah, because one of you was a caretaker and the other one was a needy bish who micromanaged and controlled her girlfriend at the time's life. Which one was you again?
So in their new video, they were reacting to a compilation video of me being rude to them for 10 minutes straight. And in the reaction, Beck stated multiple times that it's obvious that they didn't want to be on camera. And they said, oh, look at me zoning out while she's talking. And it's like both of those things like genuinely hurt, and it made me realize like I didn't even notice these things.
In my earlier content constables on you, it was a point I made. Now I know you didn't watch them because it took forever to get you to even acknowledge my name, but I did mention that years ago. None of your girlfriends have ever wanted to be in your videos. Ever. They really don't, because they know what you are. You're a lol cow. You're a poison, a cancer, a leech, a parasite, a terrible person who likes to put on a facade that you are something better than everyone else. If you were better than everyone else, you wouldn't weigh 509 pounds. Sorry, lbs.
Just like how when I was in a relationship with them, I didn't notice how mean or rude I could come off until looking back, and I just feel super remorseful.
Yeah, that sounds sincere, doesn't it now?
I viewed our whole relationship a certain way that it wasn't. I genuinely thought that they wanted to be on camera and that they were okay with being on camera. And I was so accustomed to them zoning out or seeming like they didn't want to be on camera that like that was normal for me. But I didn't know that the zoning out and the look on their face, etc., was like an indication that they weren't listening to me or that they didn't want to be on camera. Like that is like news to me.
No one believes you, not just because of what you're saying, how you're saying it, the obsessive staring at the camera. No one believes it because this is performative. We remember what you were like back then. Hell, you showed a video you responded to in a separate video when you were being incredibly lazy and you still don't know how to do the split screen. You looked like trash. You were even bigger than you are now, I guess. You looked like a mess. You were so stuck and high on your own farts that it was clear and obvious, being the smeghead that you are, you were never going to be able to take in the feelings of anyone around you, because your solution to everything back then, making the kind of money you were making, was to go shopping to buy Beck a new baseball cap because they're a geek and that's what they need. A new baseball cap because that'll, look cute on Beck. That was you back then, Amber, by the way. That was all you ever were. Now I'm going to play the next clip, to you actually saying sorry. It's very important how you deliver this, because how you deliver it is a testament to your form of, honesty, your deceptive nature, shining through beautifully through this absolutely pathetic attempt.
So knowing that like I viewed our relationship one way and it wasn't, like I genuinely look stupid, but I guess like maybe I low-key deserve it. Realizing that we both viewed this relationship so differently actually makes it easier for me to be accountable and to apologize, because if that's the way that they truly viewed it, like I deeply apologize for that. And there's nothing I can do to change their opinions and their thoughts and their experience, because that's what they lived.
The only time in this entire video where you actually say sorry for something after making the entire video about yourself, because that's all you do, obfuscate, deflect, project, and make something yourself the center of attention, you say sorry off camera. This is how I know none of this matters to you. It can't matter because you're not the focal point and you're not being given praise. You didn't get praise in the comments to this either, because they flayed you. You were sauté. You were served al dente, which you kinda deserve. If you're gonna say sorry for your wrongful actions and behaviour, people need to see it from you. Not hear it, see it. You are a person that spends the majority of her time on camera, and the one chance you had to actually say the words that are supposed to matter in a 10-minute video, you put halfway into the video, which by the way wasn't the most rewatched part. In fact, your videos don't have that these days. It was just a scattered bit off camera, and it was about something else, about not wanting to be in videos. It would be right to include a conclusion to her month here. Firstly, there was some more with Quirky Love Rosie, but to be honest, it didn't need to get a second running, as it were. It featured in January towards the end. I do not agree with sharing DMs, but at the same time, wow, she has some tunnel vision on her, doesn't she now? Amber, that is. Amber continued with the calorie counting after quitting semaglutide and was gearing up to start seeing on a regular basis in March a psychiatrist. The added accusations from Beck continued throughout the month, as did some more from Destiny, because I believe they both hooked up for a live stream. Amber took all of this really badly, started laying into people like Zachary Michael as well, and it tickled me to no end, but ultimately none of it really mattered when you consider the bigger picture of what Amber is doing. Failing at dieting, again, her dirty laundry is getting an absolute pasting on the internet. She's getting destroyed, and now she is starting to get more and more into it. The ability to control the narrative is gone. She does try more in March, we'll get to soon, don't you worry, but let's face it here, Amber is becoming more like Chantal, and I don't think she's ready for it. During the month of March of this year, I made 4 videos on Amberlynn Reid. In those 4 videos, thumbnails you can see on the screen, I covered one of the major stories of the month involving poor defenceless washcloths, and yes, hashtag stop washcloth abuse. We call them flannels over here, yeah. We also talk about the fact that as the month progresses, Amber gets more and more reliant on her members-only live streams. Now, she does have a few members. Congratulations. She uses them as an excuse to try and entice people to watch those where she will be seen vaguely doing more than what she ordinarily does during a month. I have to show you clips from those 4 videos, because when it gets to the main story of the month, again, the washcloths, I don't want to leave context out. So this might be a long segment. It is not intended to be, but it is important for context. Before we start playing those, of course, we need to look at a few bits and bobs that will have to be scattered in throughout this month of Amberlynn Reid's members-only live content. Because it's been most of the year, I don't regret taking these from Twitter, where they were then subsequently stolen from her live streams. Amber knows, realistically, she needs the haters to give those numbers some oomph. Because people can't just listen to these members-only videos, VODs, I guess, at that point. So the clips are the best they can get their hands on, and for the amount of money she charges, I am somewhat impressed that at this point she is still keeping up with this schedule. It is in Amber's nature to not commit to anything, because she's lazy.
Choosy is a game I invented, and I play it to this day. It is one of the most calming things. It is just so therapeutic. It started when I was 7 years old because my Uncle Bumpy gave me this like tin can of like rocks, and there was just like the most beautiful rocks I've ever seen. Came up with the idea through process of elimination. Like, if you guys have ever heard of like that like bracket game, it's very similar to that. I have done it with 3 partners, and it was always like such like a bonding experience, because
one of the biggest complaints that Amberlynn Reid is on the receiving end at this point is that she owes Beck $5,000. I'd add interest to that, personally, because she does. Amber, trying to promote her streams, entices you in with games and other such stuff, and then just spends the entire time eating and talking about COVID, because the coof is so damn scary, y'all. Fear the coofness, especially if you're super morbidly obese and on your way to half-ton heifer. Now, on March the 4th, I released the first of 4 videos. This thumbnail is the thing for it. Cope and seed, moulding, the standard stuff for Amber. It was the prelude? Yes, to the big story of the month. Again, hashtag stop washcloth abuse.
people are seeing me as all bad and Beck all good.
This is fundamentally not true. Beck has taken much in the way of criticism when it came to what was considered grifting, begging for donations, in fact making that a bit of a front and centre thing, certainly last year. This year it's not so much that. They are, yes, getting a lot of views and a lot of attention, but actually I think they found their spine. And that's not a bad thing in the past where they didn't have the confidence. You had threatened them. Now that threat is no longer a thing. They can be honest up front, very vocal about all their grievances with you. You are a terrible person. 100%, you are rarely a good person. The guarantee that you are a bad person is one word: rarity. That's the guarantee. You can never be a good person. With Beck, they can just say what you are, and people are going to lap it up because a lot of it is true. It doesn't mean they're good. It just means they're being upfront. It just means they are telling people a side of you you refuse to acknowledge, i.e. the reality. A hard pill I know for you to swallow, because food anxiety, and you're worried about those calories with the truth. You might find the truth is actually really good if you're on keto. It's probably why you don't swallow it.
And automatically they're going to believe everything Beck says, even though, like, they used to hate Beck. Like,
do try to be careful how you frame this, Amber, because you're being intellectually dishonest. People were not overly fond of the way Beck was handling doling out information, right? It came across as e-begging, it came across as grifting, and there are many people in this space of the internet that get accused of grifting all the time. Now, you're yet to reach that stage, because you're still doing reasonably well enough that you can afford this rather crappy life you have. A very possession-riddled, very, materialistic, very shallow life, yeah? Where your version of content is to buy food you don't know anything about, so you can bleat about your food anxiety and then suppress it when it suits you. That's your version of content, along with being a bit of a feeder type, as in your content can be earmarked towards it. You've been putting it on your thumbnails enough to make people think you're trying to bring that back or entice them in to watch the rest of your content. None of your recent videos, I'd say for the past 2-3 months, have a most replayed part. meaning your videos lack any definitive rewatchability. I've gone on a tangent, haven't I? The original point, though, there are as many things Beck can do wrong, and at the moment, people aren't really interested in the wrong. They want to hear what Beck has to say because everyone should be heard, including you. It's just the same when you want to be heard, you have to cherry pick and quote mine people to do it.
I was actually going to film a reaction video to one of my most popular reacted videos. It was when I was reacting to Zachary Michael reacting to me walking.
Just before Amber continues, I know exactly which reaction this is, and the funnier part is Amber actually did cherry pick and quote mine Zachary Michael. Took quotes and left out context leading up to, which was vitally important, to frame Zachary Michael as being hateful, when in fact with the full context that was not the case. It was one of the biggest bones of contention many had with that video, because it was beyond levels of intellectually dishonest. It was a straight up attack on someone's character by trying to assassinate their existence. You tried to poison the well. Yes, I'm using a fair few terms here. I haven't inserted ATOM yet. Don't worry, we'll get there. It's 2015 again, everyone. In an attempt to try and frame Zachary Michael as something that Zachary Michael is not. I'm not standing or simping for Zachary Michael here. I'm really not. But I know exactly what you did in that video because I remember watching it thinking, hold up, I've seen the original video. There are bits missing here.
To a tree, and I started the reaction, and I realized how much of Beck was in the reaction, and I was like, oh, I don't know if this is like okay for me to do. And then as I was doing it, I realized Zach was a dick.
No, they were not. Back when that was a thing, that video in question, Zachary Michael was being arguably, compared to many others, one of the fairest. Compared to others, especially so. I would argue Zachary Michael is still very fair to you. Even when they have been supportive to you, you've been a dick to them. Every single time. It's you 101. When someone's supportive, nice, kind to you, but they're on the wrong side of history to you, you will regardless be a dick to them. Because you can't maintain these relationships. There's a level of inconsistency here. It's why when many accused you of taking Zachary Michael out of context, there was a point.
Like, it left me shocked. Like, my jaw was on the floor. Like, for a minute there, I forgot, like, Zach was abusive to Beck. Are you kidding? Like, I would, like, compliment Beck, and Zach would be like, no. Like, just rude. Just...
I should point out, because, again, this should be a fairly obvious point. You can still support someone and criticize them. You can still support someone and hold them accountable. Now, as the month progressed, ignoring her videos for the most part, Amber tried to justify her behaviors. She tried desperately to find a way when it came to the back and forth with Beck to make threats or attempt to make it seem like she was asserting control. Being who Amber is, she has spent the majority of her time on YouTube in control of her situations. Because the number of ex-girlfriends has increased quite a lot, more and more are finding their voices. This would include Emily as well, but that's for April. We'll save that for April. For what I'm saying to make sense, I'm going to play another clip from a members only live stream, because this is where I argue is the juiciest material. Her YouTube content is beyond stale, and we'll show some of that later anyway.
Yeah, I do have to do what is best for me, and the sad thing is, I've been doing what has been best for Beck this whole time.
None of this deterred Beck in the slightest. Proof of that will be the main story for the month of March, and it was one comment made by Beck that I would argue blew up the community, because boy oh boy, we didn't know the level of dependent Amber was on Beck. We didn't know how disgusting our dainty queen actually is. I mean, we knew some bits here and there. I had said many years ago that there's no way she had a bath normally or a shower. She undoubtedly went to a car wash. That was Content Constable number 3 on. So I'm now going to have to insert the second video I made in the month of March on Amber, where she, we find out that she was getting wiped.
So when I'm the type of person that I will not have sex with someone unless we're in a relationship.
Considering how quick you fall in love and move in with them, that's not a surprise. Although this is a very odd conversation to be having. Then again, on a recent thumbnail of yours, you're showing a pair of drawers, which has led many to believe, much like previous being you eating, indicating more feeder content, this one is either aimed at Tommy or new Tommy, which I could believe. I really can believe.
I will not have sex with you unless I love you, or I feel that feeling of falling in love with you.
So yes, it'll be after one date if you give her a jar of garlic olives that pops. You won't even have to worry about anything else as long as that jar pops. Am I right, folks? Now, I do want to insert a disclaimer. This does not come from a members-only live stream. It comes from a stream titled Breaking My Silence. It is nearly 3 hours long. Compared to other streams she's done on her channel, this one hasn't done as well on views. However, it is only 6 hours old at time of recording. It is highly likely to get a few more, given enough time. I had said in the past, Amber could in fact have a really good future as a live stream content creator, because then she actually doesn't have to do anything beyond talk to people in a chat. Much like on YouNow, when she used to do that with, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Destiny or Becky, I don't remember. And there are some Becky things we need to discuss, don't worry. Yes, we'll get to that grimness very soon.
Like, I can't find you, like, super, like, I can look at someone and be like, damn, they're attractive, damn. But I, like, literally can't look at someone and be like, oh, I want to have sex with you, unless I literally love you, or unless I'm in a relationship with you.
What Amber means by that is, she doesn't do pump and dumps, because then she doesn't have someone to care for her. She believes by giving up her goodies, which she believes is somewhere hidden underneath those rolls, they're going to want to stick around and maybe, you know, wipe her? Wash her? Is that a bit on the nose? Have I slipped and gone a bit too far into the dark area, like Beck had to for many months, which we'll get to, don't worry.
I can do phone sex here and there, you know, stupid things like that. But, like, physical intimacy, not going to happen.
I want to insert the cookie crumble video here because it feels appropriate to mention the existence of this content. Content that if you remove the skanky part of it, you know, the part without your top on, you probably could get that monetized on YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if someone had already done this, because that's the internet for you.
Do you owe Beck $6,000? No.
You do. I've said as much this week and last week many times in fact, but I will allow, because it's only right, even with your rather stunted approach to explanations, to provide a suitable way of verbalizing your justification. Yes, that works. Why not make that more complicated than it was?
So I guess we can talk about the inheritance. I did talk about this in my members only, but obviously not everyone saw that. So in my members only, I talked about how Beck is saying that I took the inheritance. Me and Beck had a joint account. Okay, so this is where a screenshot comes in, so I'm glad we're talking about this.
Having a joint account is not what they said, or you saying it does not deflect or suitably explain from what they said, where they wanted to use it to pay a respect or homage to their mother, and you straight up said no. The screenshot to a joint account will not help you in this explanation, Amber. I'm not entirely sure why you think that will. And the free promotion of the members-only stuff, nothing wrong with that. I'm impressed, though, that this one isn't in the members-only category. I'm impressed because I genuinely think you would have done that to get as much money out of this as possible. Then again, it only takes one person to clip it and put it on Twitter.
Let me get to it. I have done some picture taken. Wow. Okay, so me and Beck had a joint account, and it was originally her bank account. Their bank account. I'm sorry, I'm getting really, really flustered. My apologies. So it was originally their bank account, and when we got together, I ended up going on their bank account together. So we were joint bank accounts. So any money that either of us both received went into one full-fledged, one area. In a recent, I don't know if it was video, live stream, I forget what it was, Beck said how they didn't even have the means to look at the bank to see how much money was in there, that they had to use my debit card, that I had my own private thing. Those are not true statements. I have a screenshot. I was not able to get into the bank ever.
When you and Beck broke up, you drained that account and left Beck with $100. So if you didn't have access to it or couldn't have access to it, how did you manage to withdraw so much of it so quickly?
And I want to make it very, very clear that that is the only thing they helped me with.
For this to make sense, you'd have to know that Amber was bedbound for a time during their relationship, which meant, yes, while bedbound because of weight, worrying, isn't it, when you have to rely on a cheat code to try and get that weight down so you don't end up without a carer. Beck was doing everything for Amber, something that didn't really change throughout the majority of their relationship, because Amber was in absolute control of absolutely everything.
Like, back in 2019, they got me a bucket with some water twice to, like, help wash myself, because that was during a hard time as well.
It's called a horse bath. A gesture as simple as twice a week providing you with a bucket to be able to wash yourself or to wash you is quite the dedication. It really is. But then you always had a type. This is not a shot at Beck, but you always went after people who appeared to be somewhat vulnerable, introverted, very reserved, very quiet. See here, I'm not calling Beck simple, because actually the simple person is Amber. If she can manipulate somebody, she will do it.
But never ever once did I have them bathe me, shower me. That never happened.
They never had to bathe you or shower you if they simply wiped you down. You can be pedantic and try and move the goalposts, but at the point when you were bedbound, you were never fitting in a bath or a shower anyway. And I remember those videos of you filming in the bathroom. My first thought was, you've done this to bait people out. Because working out the dimensions, there was no version of it where you could get your leg over the bathtub to stand in the shower in the first place. Which is why you used so much perfume, because you reeked, you hummed.
And if it did, I would tell you, because I just told you the most embarrassing thing. Like, if someone had, like, a gun to my head and said, "What is your biggest secret ever?" It would have been that. I had a partner who wiped me for 9 months.
Amber Skidmark Lynn Reid. Sorry, Amber Skidmark Skank Reid. Lynn Reid. Yes. You got wiped for 9 months by somebody who you were trying to take a dunk on or deflect from criticism that they are sending your way, all of which legitimate and valid. You are being undone by your own mouth. This drama, though, didn't stop. And I accidentally included in the previous audio clip me saying that Beck would explain why. It was in the third video. Right at the start, in fact. It's filth, and we will unpack that here. Beck, out to you for your bathroom habits. I don't think I'll ever willingly want to use a washcloth ever again. Here's why.
Before I started wiping her, she would use washcloths to wipe.
I know Amber was flush with coin at this point, getting 100,000 views minimum per video, but let's face it here, that is one wasteful expense. And just before they explained how Amber was doing this, back in the day before loo roll existed, you'd have a bucket of water, a stick, and a cloth would be attached to the end of it. You'd use it to wipe, and then you put it into the bucket with the water. That water would sit with your fecal matter and other nonsense in it, and it would be considered clean enough to use again. That was what was done. If you want to see a clip of someone doing that, Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and the prequel series. Batiatus does it. Please don't tell me you put them in the washing machine afterwards.
She would set them on the corner of the sink, and then she would turn herself around to wipe herself on it. And then she would throw them away.
Now, if memory serves, they did have a separate bathroom to the one shared by Eric and Eric's partner. I do remember that because the bathroom became a meme because no one could believe Amber fit in any of it or on any of it. But I guess this is about where Eric gets factored into this story because of how they respond to this when they start to suspect. And yes, it gets grim. I don't think it gets any better. The low bar is well and truly at rock bottom.
Our roommates started to notice that their late mother's washcloths were disappearing.
Yeah, that's a bit shitty, don't you think?
And they confronted her about it, and she wanted me to lie to them for her, but I didn't.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, and not the one hovering over the washcloth, used. That piques my interest. I wonder if that was a contributing factor to them moving out, because I can't imagine they stayed friends for much longer when they realised, my late mother's washcloths have been used as a wiping device on the edge of a counter while stacked up so Amber could wipe her crack. Bear in mind here, corner unit. Now you've got the image in your head, congratulations. You're one of us now.
She ended up buying more washcloths for herself, and instead of throwing them away, she had me wash them in the sink and then put them in the washer.
In my head I was trying to work out how many washcloths she went through a day. I could imagine based on how much she ate and her size, there wasn't a solid movement to work with. It had to be 3 to 4 a day. Now, she was making good money, sure, but think of the wastage, man. And then to have them washed twice so they could be reused. Nah. Nah, that's not Raven. That's not okay. We're not going to tolerate that. That is ick and disgusting, and I would love to see Amber's response to this, because I bet she's got nothing. Because the best she can say is, yeah, I was bedbound, give you the dead delivery of it, and say, yeah, I had to do that because I couldn't wipe. Like, I can't imagine Beck was lifting your legs up to do it and changing a nappy. I don't think they're doing your size. Although based on the size of your clothing anyway, you could have just bought several towels, sewn them together. You may as well use the towel instead of a washcloth, and then you could have done it yourself. The back and forth motion, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, that. And by the way, an intrepid Twitter user, you know who you are, found a clip of washcloths. I'm going to insert them here for the last clip of Beck.
Ice tray. I got some more washcloths for the house. I got some washcloths. So I'm loving this color. She got some washcloths, gray and white. I also needed some more washcloths, so I got a set.
I won't deny, I do vaguely remember people saying, who needs that many washcloths? It never occurred to me that you were the type to use them a couple times on your booty hole and then, well, to use the corner of the unit to push into that area, to then throw them away or have them washed twice, to then use them again for a while. But at the time when you were doing this, it would look a bit more interesting as opposed to you saying, so this is my loo roll? Dainty? Queen? Hecticana? Can I do any more of that? I can't be asked.
Wiping ended up being the lesser of two evils at the time.
Lesser of two evils, huh? I'm not going to criticize you too much because your relationship, we've spoken of it much over the years. I even did a Mukbangers Ex-Wives video on you because I felt that while you weren't totally innocent, now given a greater scope, part of me wants to revisit it. Just to add the additional context of just how crappy that situation type deal moment was for you. Amber had everything done, given, made for her. And when she had to do it herself, she couldn't even commit to the part where it involved her actually doing the cleaning. We know she was bedbound for a time because of her weight. We now know she wiped herself because wiping. Yeah. But then we also know that Beck was having to get their hands well and truly stuck in the quagmire just for you, the control freak micromanaging cowbag, who's so big she still can't wipe her own booty. There's no chance you can, by the way, because you're a quarter-ton princess on path to halfway heifer. Half-ton heifer, even. Yes, congratulations for that. Now, on the subject of relationships, because yes, that grimness is going to be a recurring feature, we should of course insert Emily, who had started reposting onto their Instagram account, but the posts they made were not about Amber. They were in fact about their ex, and eventually did lead as the month progressed to Tommy spilling a bit more tea as time went by. For example, thank you for sharing that with me. When BPD got brought up initially, I also had the mentality of convincing myself I can handle it because of my professional background. It's very different on a personal level, especially when you're already in a vulnerable state, especially when there's a strong pattern of skilled manipulation involved. I wonder who that's aimed at. Now, it should be noted, Amber doesn't acknowledge during the month of March anything Tommy says. It's mostly centered at poisoning the well with Beck, by saying this is all done for money. No doubt then, when on the 19th of March, Beck and Destiny had livestreamed together, Amber had a literal conniption. Must have been real hecticana in her mind, am I right, folks?
I genuinely, from the depths of my soul, am not that type of person. But it seems like I keep getting mixed up with the wrong fucking people. Like, I'm just done. Like, I don't want any friends. I don't want any girlfriends. Nothing. I'm done with everyone and everything. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I genuinely don't. And it's like, I think the craziest part is like that was in response to me saying that I miss her.
As the month progresses, Amber gets a bit more and more desperate. She tries to clap back at everyone and everything, and fails magnificently. This is where the fourth and final video of the month comes in.
You won't say what Beck did, but we're supposed to be mad at them on your behalf. I'm literally telling you that's the reason why, like, I'm not sitting here and being like, oh, Beck did this and Beck did that. Because the main thing that is in my brain that I've told the people closest to me, it is illegal. I will say that. So I'm not going to just sit here and be like, well, this is what happened. Because it's so fucking hectic. And I'd rather talk to Becky.
The poor defenseless washcloths and that poor defenseless sink. Many images have been shared all over social media about how the logistics of this went down. It was something I had posited 2 days ago, because upon hearing of it, my first thought was the corner of that unit, or the sink, was getting touched. Ew. Because the mask is slipping, Amber is letting everyone know. So this video going to involve a lot of reading. Via the Hectic Ambi Instagram account, there is a Reddit image showing how one would wipe. Now, of course, I have to blur that part because YouTube's terms of service would say, no, you can't use that. With Amber saying, Beck, you caused this, and for that, I'll never stay silent again. Good job, clapping. I'm not afraid of you anymore. It was the other way round originally because you threatened legal action against Beck if Beck said anything. You created this monster. What you're doing isn't healing or taking the high ground. It's immaturity and shows that you haven't changed at all. Some would argue that by being open, honest, being able to address publicly all that caused you harm, you are able to heal from being that vulnerable, to tell people, to show and share. It's actually a good part of the healing process. You might not agree because you've got a new psychiatrist sycophant, but give it time and you'll unironically do the same thing, because your trauma is worse than everyone else's, everyone. Remember making fun of your ex by posting their dirty underwear on social media, or when you harassed your 18-year-old stepsister at their workplace because you wanted to date her even though you were almost 30? None of this is remotely relevant to the discussion of the wiping. Don't forget here, Beck wiped you, and you went through washcloths. No, you can't compare the two. No one is denying that Beck has a past. No one's denying that they are not a very great person, right? Because there's no such person that exists in reality, to be honest. Everyone has an aspect of humanity somewhere, sure, but you don't have a leg to stand on, unless it's perched on tippy toes, leaning forward, backing up, like a truck, to the edge of a sink corner. You haven't changed at all. Well, they look a bit different these days. You've just gotten better at manipulating. Well, they did learn from the best now, didn't they? You are one of the best gaslighters in the online space. Yet you seem to think that it's only gaslighting when others do it to you, and it's very specific definition parameters. That's the only way you will ever accept it as gaslighting. You are a parody. You are a good actor, remember? The tea did you feel it? Beck later responded via community post. Amberlynn came, we're going to say Amber for this by the way. Amber came on her livestream last night and said some disgusting things about my current partner who is not a public figure. So I will now I know this state. Do not bring in other people using guilt by association. Do not use them to make greater points. The issue is between the two of you, and that applies to anyone in any walk of life. Please don't do that. And who she has never met and does not know. Nothing she has said, nothing said had anything to do with things I've called her out for in my videos. She thinks she can drive a wedge between myself and my loved ones, even my own family, but it won't work. That doesn't surprise me, considering what happened when a relative of Beck's passed away and what Amber did next. This will include when those same relatives were ill. Amber made everything about herself. She was never there to support them because she couldn't. She was bedbound. So she did Q&As on Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other usual hotspots that Amber likes to go to. I won't make a video about this because it was nothing but a woman spiraling and blindly throwing punches in every direction. Amber, whoever told you these things is no friend of mine, clearly, even if they used to be. The only person's opinion of my partner that matters is mine, and she has never controlled, forced, or even asked me to do anything that I have or have not done to my relationship, my life, for my relationship, my life, and my personal healing and growth. Well, we know with absolute certainty based on that, those terms can never be used for Amberlynn, or Amber, for this video anyway. Amber, she's never been the type to be able to help you because she can never help herself. And that's a fundamental problem with Amber. She does not have the capacity, whether it be physical or mental, to commit to anything with any level of conviction or strength. This would include supporting others, unless they blindly support her. Real support for real people comes with good and bad. That is all perspective based. If all you ever do is agree with each other, you'll often find stagnation. But maybe that's what Amber wants. Maybe Amber just wants stagnation. Which is a bit tragic, really, isn't it? She supports me coming out about my experience because she is a supportive partner. I don't have to tell you that it's wrong to publicly make statements about someone who is not a public figure and has nothing to do with what I've come out and said about you. I hope you take some time off to reflect on your recent behaviour. I did say in the last video, which has done really well on this channel, thank you to everyone that's watched it, I did say that when it came to this subject matter, Amber needed to learn when to stop, because really she has no comeback. She can't have one. She can't have a comeback for something where it is fundamentally true, and it's kind of confirmed in a moment. Yeah, Amber addressing, not addressing, tells you a lot about what she actually did or did not do. Hard to deny something when the evidence now is compounded by all the clips of you bragging about all the washcloths you buy. Going through that many is ridiculous, by the way, for your face. For your anus, well, I hope you take enough step backs to see that I never had to say any of what I said in my videos. If you want me to stop speaking on you, if you want your audience to form a better opinion of you, there is an easy solution. Taking accountability without simultaneously talking negatively about the people you are apologising to is not hard, unless you're Amber and you have to only ever say sorry when the camera's not on. Covered that in a video I think last week or the week before. She didn't actually directly apologise to Beck. No, she said, I should apologise, and then when she said I'm sorry, it cut to a still image of a cloud. Sincerity Lynn 101 is fictitious, like delicious Brussels sprouts and equally delicious dried chicken. Instead, you once again threaten me in an attempt to get me to stop talking. What you did last night and in your public livestream was vile, and the things I said in my video were only a response to that. The more you try to pick fights and hurt me, instead of actually listening, actually apologising, actually working to correct things, the deeper you dig yourself into this hole, you're spiralling yourself right into. In the online space, there are many who are salivating at the idea of that. They are salivating at the idea of that because they really want to see just how far Amber is willing to go to try and change the narrative. Do bear in mind here, there are many different aspects of their relationship, the failed relationship, over the years, the things we now know, Amber refuses to talk about. Instead, she has tried to deflect onto other aspects of it entirely. By doing that, she is forcing the conversation or trying to force the conversation elsewhere, but the internet is a weapon. Much of it is tism. They hyper-focus on one really important point. Beck wiped you. Like, seriously, you backed your ass up into a sink corner and used washcloths that had to be washed twice so you could reuse them. And that only happened after you used someone's deceased mother's. Fam, you filth. It's not overly difficult now, is it? You need to pick your battles because this one isn't good for you. On the Hectic Ambi Instagram account, thank you everyone for the sweet and kind messages. The support during this time means the world to me. Beck sharing their story of how I was controlling in nature is one thing, as I took full accountability and apologised privately multiple times years ago and also now publicly, but sharing personal information during extremely vulnerable times that I'm ashamed of to thousands of people who belittle me and attack me every single day just to paint me in a certain light is sick beyond words. Words, yes. Sorry, I was losing my breath because there was no punctuation when there should have been plenty. Beck has reached a low that they promised they wouldn't reach, but the minute I stuck up for myself against the lies, they attack. I might be unhinged, and admittedly so, but they're manipulating their unhinged behaviour behind a mask. I fell for the manipulation before, but I'm not doing it again. Now, I could insert all the clips I could want to insert for Amber's march, but in truth her content is dead. She gets views, sure, and it drags on, and she kinda does a few bits and bobs, but all she's doing is showing how she thinks she's living the best life. All the best content that came from her came from Beck spilling tea on her and Amber responding either via Instagram stories or via her members-only livestream while trying to seem like she's removed or above it. She never confirmed fully whether or not there's any truth to the wiping, but she does allude to there being truth to it by stating vulnerable. Add to this, Amber genuinely wants to present herself as a character, but all she's done is put on more weight over the course of the month, which, by the way, she has. She finishes the month at, I believe, 519 or 518.9. I think it's 519.8 pounds. She's going up. She's doing nothing. She's claiming she loves her content, but she spends most of her time now, well, getting angry and watching her haters. And that is the story of her life. She always claims she has so much going on, but really she has nothing. This is proof of it. I don't need to use her videos because, well, I covered most of it already. But also, the best bit didn't even come from her. Her reaction to it was interesting. It was absolutely scrumdiddlyumptious. But actually, the best bits came from Beck, putting out there what we knew about Amber and embellishing on it to the point Amber just had nothing she could do to control the message anymore. I wonder if April's going to be any better for her. See you in part 2